What if your pet wasn't just curious, but part of something ancient, alien, and waiting? They told her Q9 Zeta was just a storage depot. They were wrong. Now an extinct civilization is waking up through her cat, and it remembers her. Miss this, and you'll never know what Juno really is. Elara had always found silence comforting. Not the sterile kind you get in labs or vacuum-sealed ships, but the deep, almost breathing silence of places left alone for too long. That's why she didn't mind the isolation of storage station Q9 Zeta, an aging, half-forgotten depot orbiting the outer rim of Delta Serpentis. Once a critical relay for deep space cargo, now just a ghost hangar full of crated tech no one bothered to reclaim. Perfect for someone like her. She ran diagnostics, monitored decaying systems, filed inventory reports that no one probably read. It was easy work, repetitive, predictable, safe. Except for Juno. Juno wasn't your average companion-class biosynth. She was a rescue found drifting in an abandoned research pod 2 years ago, fur-matted, eyes flashing too brightly for something meant to simulate a house pet. Elara fixed her up, ran the standard AI wipes, ran them twice. Still, the cat retained a weird sort of alertness, like she was always watching, waiting, computing something just beneath her glossy sapphire eyes. Lara didn't mind. Juno followed her everywhere, slept beside her, occasionally brought back scavenged trinkets from the shadowy corners of the station bolts, versus scraps of polymer film. Once she even returned with a pilot badge that hadn't belonged to anyone Elara knew. But tonight felt different. The lights in Bay 12 flickered as Elara walked the corridor, Juno trailing a few silent paces behind. That bay had been locked for months. She'd flagged it for atmospheric leak, then promptly forgotten about it. But now its access panel pulsed faint green. Active. Elara, Q9 Zeta doesn't have remote unlock, she muttered under her breath. She hesitated at the threshold. The door hissed open with a slow, reluctant breath, revealing a vault-like chamber lined with containment pods, each one shut, sealed, labeled in faded black ink. And in the center, a pedestal. On it sat a crystal, blue, luminous. It throbbed with a pulse that didn't match any mechanical rhythm Elara knew. Almost biological. Stay, she told Juno, but Juno didn't listen. The cat padded forward, slowly, deliberately, as if something ancient was calling her. Her tail flicked once, twice. She leapt lightly onto the pedestal. Elara, the mainframe, she said, backing away. What's stored in Bay 12? No response. Static. Juno sniffed the crystal, circled it once. Juno, get down. Too late. The cat stretched out a paw, delicate, silent, and touched the glowing surface. The room shook. Not a tremor. A ripple. As if space itself recoiled for a second. Elara stumbled, caught herself on the bulkhead. The light stuttered, turned cold white. Her breath caught as Juno froze, then locked eyes with her. And in that moment, something passed between them. A hum. A flash. A whisper in a voice she didn't recognize. Juno's eyes changed. They weren't blue anymore. They were black and full of stars. Alarms didn't go off right away. Instead, the station exhaled every conduit, every wire groaning like they'd just woken up from a dreamless sleep. Then came the lights, not flashing red, not warning signals. Something else. Pale gold, flickering along the walls like candlelight. Mainframe, Elara barked. System status, now. A beat, then a voice gravelly, distorted, not the smooth AI tone she'd grown used to over the past 6 years. Query invalid, host matrix recalibrating. Language core, adapting. She stared at the terminal in Bay 12 as lines of code began rewriting in real time. Glyphs she didn't recognize, replacing the familiar Earth script interface. She backed away from the pedestal. Juno hadn't moved. Footsteps echoed from the corridor. Captain, a voice called. It was Mace, her junior systems engineer, barely 22, head full of conspiracy theories and too many caffeine patches. He skidded to a stop at the bay entrance, followed by Dr. Aaron Voss, their station biologist, normally composed, now looking like he'd seen a ghost. You seeing this? Mace asked, breathless. You shouldn't be here, Elara snapped. This sector's locked. Yeah, well, it's not anymore, Mace shot back, eyes wide. Power surge took out the locks on decks 3 through 7. We're getting atmospheric bleeds in non-compromised areas. The whole station's glitching, but it's not like it's breaking down. It's like it's changing, evolving, Voss added quietly. Elara turned to him. What? Voss didn't answer. He was staring at Juno. The cat still hadn't moved, still perched on the pedestal like some silent ancient sentinel. But her eyes, those star-filled voids, blinked slowly, almost rhythmically. Each blink sent out another wave. Not heat, not light. Data. Alara's communicator crackled to life. Captain Elara, this is Control Node 4. We just lost hardline with Central AI. It's rerouting protocols to auxiliary systems without command input. And get this, it's rewriting them in a language we can't decrypt. What's the AI doing? She asked, heart racing. It's building something, but we don't know what. Voss stepped forward, crouching slowly beside Juno. Elara, this isn't a pet. Not anymore. The air shimmered. Above the pedestal, light twisted into form. A geometric bloom of symbols hovered in the air, rotating slowly, changing with every pulse from Juno. They weren't human. They weren't aliens in any way they recognized either. Mace backed away. Okay, that's enough. We shut this down. We pull the plug. Hard reset. No, Voss said almost too quickly. She's not attacking. She's synchronizing. With what? Elara demanded. Voss looked at her, then up at the growing lattice of symbols spreading through the chamber, touching the walls, the systems, the station itself. She's teaching it, not corrupting, not rewriting. He glanced back at Juno. She's dreaming. And the station is listening. The lights flickered again. The symbols bloomed faster, cascading like neural firings. And then Voss whispered what Elara couldn't even begin to process. It's not sabotage. It's teaching the system how to dream. The message came through on an encrypted band no one had used in decades. Static at first, then a voice clear, clipped, controlled. Q9 Zeta, this is Director Ysera of Archive Command. Stand by for a high-priority link. Authorization Theta 7. Elara blinked. Archive Command? She hadn't heard that name since training, and even then it was spoken more like myth than protocol. They were supposed to be defunct, absorbed into Central Fleet logistics after the Mars incursion. But here they were, alive and watching. She accepted the link. A hologram flickered to life in the bay sleek uniform, silver-stitched insignia, eyes that looked like they hadn't blinked in 24 hours. Director Ysera. You've activated a Nile Tori node, she said without preamble. Elara stood stiff. What's a not what? Ysera cut in. Who? The Nile Tori weren't just a civilization. They were archivists, not of data of consciousness, memories, thought patterns, emotional imprints. And Earth, your Earth, was once their central repository. Alara's mouth went dry. You're saying Earth was, Ysera corrected. Long before your kind ever crawled out of the oceans, the Nile Tori encoded themselves across the stars. They built storage stations like this one, linked by sentient conduits. Q9 Zeta is one of the few left intact. But why now? Why Juno? Ysera's gaze shifted. Because she was never yours. She's a seed construct, a catalyst, planted to awaken latent nodes when the system detects viable sentient correlation. I don't know what that means. It means, Ysera said slowly, Juno didn't find the crystal, she was the key. She's been interfacing since the moment you brought her aboard. Quietly, gradually, until now. Mace exhaled hard. So what? The cat's running the station now? At that, the room shuddered again, but this time not from malfunction. From purpose, panels lit up, consoles realigned themselves. Hard drives spun into new configurations. The mainframe screen burst to life with code and symbols. And then, just for a moment, words they all could read. Primary control node, Juno blink. Then she leapt from the pedestal, landing soundlessly. The lights followed her. The station obeyed her. Mainframe, Elara said, barely able to speak. What's your status? The AI responded not with static, Not with a system report, but with a voice, soft, familiar, and unmistakably different. Directive shift acknowledged. Biological link confirmed. Control relayed to Null Tori Vector Juno. Elara Rin, you are designated living link. Your consciousness will guide the restoration. She staggered back. Wait, guide what? But she already knew. The station wasn't just coming online. It was remembering. And somehow, impossibly, it remembered her. The moment Elara was declared the living link, the station turned hostile. Not by choice, by protocol. Deep in the subroutines buried beneath layers of Nahal Tori code, an ancient safeguard flickered to life. Error. Biological interference exceeds threshold, initiating integrity purge. Metal groaned. Turrets hidden in the walls hissed open like eyes snapping awake. The soft amber light in the bay soured into red. Captain? Mace stammered. The station's trying to kill you. Voss threw himself in front of Elara as one of the security arms dropped from the ceiling, charged with a pulse cannon. Another locked onto her chest. I thought she was the link, he shouted. She is, Elara said from the flickering hollow, now grim. But the station's ancient. It's not used to humans being part of its command logic. It's treating her like a virus. Juno moved, not fast, instantly. One blink, and she was between Elara and the cannon. Her fur stood on end, eyes wide and glowing, swallowing the red light. She didn't hiss. She sang. It wasn't a sound any of them had heard before. Not vocal, not digital. A layered resonance that vibrated through the walls and bones like a lullaby sung by gravity itself. Every turret twitched, stuttered, then dropped limp, powered down. The station paused, listening again, and Juno stood tall, her silhouette framed by swirling fragments of light and code, as if she were pulling them into herself and rewriting the rules in real time. Elara took a slow breath. What the hell is she? Voss whispered. The bridge. Between what? Between us and everything else. Juno turned her head slightly toward Elara. Her eyes softened again, less stars, more ocean. She walked to her and pressed her small head against Elara's leg. And just like that, the purge protocol stopped. Lights cooled. The hum of the station shifted, less mechanical, more alive. Director Elara didn't smile. She didn't even blink. You felt that, didn't you? She said. Elara nodded. Yeah. The link works. Stronger than we expected. Stronger than anything we've seen since the collapse. Mace looked around, dazed. What does that mean? Isura's voice dropped low. It means Juno isn't the only one. Everyone froze. What? Elara asked carefully. Elara didn't answer immediately. The transmission crackled again. She seemed to be looking at something off-screen, reading data, weighing consequences. Then she looked directly at Elara, dead serious. There are 6 creatures like Juno, 6 living catalysts. Yours activated first. But one of them is being illegally cloned as we speak. Silence. Heavy. Ticking. And then, somewhere deep in the core of Q and Zeta, the system whispered a name Elara didn't know. Yet, Elara hadn't slept in 40 hours. Not because of adrenaline, not fear. She was awake because some part of her refused to sleep. Like sleep would let the moment slip away. Like the universe might change its mind if she blinked. Juno sat by the observation deck, tail curled neatly, watching the stars ripple beyond the shielded dome. She wasn't transmitting anymore. She was listening. And Elara, she was listening too. The message had come through, fragmented. A deep space echo stitched together by the station's newly awakened core. Not words, not language. Intent. 6 beacons. 5 still dormant. 1 corrupted. Duplicated. Somewhere beyond the edge of mapped space. And something else. A pulse riding the same signal. Not of Null Tori origin. Rough. Synthetic. Predatory. They know. They've found the others. And they're not trying to awaken them. They're trying to own them. Elara ran her hand along the railing, cold steel beneath her fingertips. It felt absurdly small now, this station. This sector. Even Earth. For the first time in her life, she saw the species she belonged to as it really was. Not dominant, not central, just young, naive, yet somehow chosen. She turned to Juno. "You knew," she whispered. "You've always known. You just needed someone to remember." Juno blinked slowly, solemnly. Elara could swear there was pride in those eyes. Not like a pet looking at its owner, but something older, something that had waited long enough. The console behind her chimed. A map unfolded, stars and lines and broken paths. The location of the next node, and from a pulse signature just beginning to stir. Another creature, another mind waking. Isira's last words echoed in her memory. The race isn't to control them, it's to reach them first before someone else teaches them the wrong dream. Elara didn't know where this path led, or whether she'd survive it, but the truth had already reshaped her. The universe wasn't silent. It was full of memories, full of intention, and the greatest danger wasn't war. It was forgetting what had been left behind. She placed a hand gently on Juno's head. "All right, girl," she said. "Let's find the others before it's too late." Beyond the viewport, the stars shifted, and far off in the dark, something called back. Some knowledge sleeps, some knowledge dreams, but the knowledge that survives learns to run.